More Australians are supporting a push to stop junk food from being advertised. A new survey reveals 75% of people believe children should not be targeted with online food and drink marketing. The figures come as Teal Independence this week tabled legislation for a widespread media ban on junk food to slow down the nation's obesity epidemic. Business groups say an advertising ban would lead to job losses. Well, joining me live is CEO of Cancer Victoria, Todd Harper. Todd, thank you very much for joining us. I know Cancer Victoria conducted a survey that revealed, in fact, 76% support a blanket ban on online marketing that focuses on unhealthy food and drink to children. What else did the survey show us?
I think what the survey has helped reveal is that there are very high levels in the community for greater action to be taken on unhealthy food advertising. So in addition to a blanket ban on online advertisements, we also found that there was a high level of concern in the population about how the online environment is being used to collect private information on children as well. And there was concern for stronger regulation in that area. And this comes at a time, of course, when we're seeing rising levels of obesity, with about a quarter of children who are obese or overweight and about 63% of adults. And this all has major implications for the future health of people, including stroke, kidney disease, diabetes, and even a number of different types of cancers. So it really is, I think, time for some strong action in this regard.
And two of the things that you just mentioned, Todd, we spoke to Independent MP Zali Steggall, and she spoke exactly what you said about the children's data being compromised and the higher levels of obesity. And Independent federal member for Mackellar, Dr Sophie Scomp's tabled her bill this week, as you know, Healthy Kids Advertising, asking for that ban. So do you welcome this current bill?
Yes, this is the type of approach that we've been advocating now for probably more than 10 years. What it does do is to give parents and indeed children greater control over the environment and the ads that they're being exposed to. So consider a child aged 5 to 8 years of age. It's estimated that they'll be exposed to at least 800 unhealthy food advertisements every year. And that makes life very difficult, of course, for parents who want to be providing a positive environment, encouraging healthy food choices for their children. But when kids are being exposed to that level of advertising, estimated that we're seeing about $550 million spent on advertising of food and non-alcoholic beverages in Australia every year, many of these high in fat, sugar and salt. So it's a really tough environment for parents and children to create an environment where healthy food choices are being prioritised.
And as we know, the cost of living pressures are increasing daily. Food is not cheap, as we know. A lot of unhealthy food perhaps is cheaper than some of the healthier options, but we're also looking overseas, and Dr Sophie Scomp spoke about 40 countries around the world. They have some form of junk food advertising rules in place, including the UK and Norway.
Yes, that's right. So I think what's becoming clear now is that this is not just a phenomenon that we've seen in one or two countries, 40 countries, as you say, UK, Ireland, Norway, Mexico. And in some of these jurisdictions already, we're starting to see some really positive results. So, for example, in Chile, in Canada, we've seen actually food consumption being influenced by these bans and a shift away from these junk food products. So this is really encouraging, and I think gives us great heart that if we were to introduce these types of measures in Australia, for example, restricting online advertising, restricting the types of junk food advertising that we're seeing in a variety of media, then that's going to have a positive impact. It gives parents greater opportunities to set that positive role modelling example in the family home, which can be very hard at the moment with all the widespread forms of media that are carrying these types of advertising and targeting very young children.
And clearly we know advertising does work, otherwise they wouldn't be spending that money. Business groups, as we mentioned before, are saying that any advertising ban would lead to job losses. And also many people, you hear that it's, the parents' responsibility. What do you think, Todd? Is it a collaborative issue? Is it, going to lead to job losses? Do we have to really not worry about that and focus on our children's health?
I have greater faith in Australian industry than that. I think if we were to introduce this type of scheme to restrict junk food advertising, it's going to achieve a few things. We're going to see healthier food choices from children and parents, which is going to have long-term health benefits. That actually benefits the economy. Healthy people living longer, having better quality of life is actually good for the economy. What I think will also happen is that we'll encourage the food industry to be looking at the healthier options, the ones that aren't so saturated in fat, sugar and salt, focusing on those products instead of the ones that we know are doing a significant level of harm in terms of food choices by young children and also leading to problems with obesity. So I think that's the sort of broader picture that we need to be considering here. At the end of the day, we have to be, as a community, prioritising children's health and children's long-term health above all other considerations.
Todd Harper, Cancer Council Victoria CEO, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks very much, Danny.